Hello and welcome to Tabletop Oddity. My name is Jay and today FFG have blessed us with a article for the specialists. Not both of them, just the Rebel one. I'm fairly sure we'll get the Imperial one either later today, tomorrow or Monday. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with everything. We're just going to very quickly go through the new stuff and we'll talk about it as we go. I've already had a look at it and I've got stuff to say, obviously. If at the end of the video you do like the video, then do consider hitting the like button. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, then please do that, as it does really help. So moving on to the Rebels. We'd already seen most of this. The models look fine. This screen we've already seen. The Rebel officer there, essentially, I think we'd already seen this guy, but he's essentially a downgraded version of Leia for less points. So more than fine if you want to take him and run a cheap commander. And I can't see it. Maybe somebody knows that if you necessarily need to have him to get these command cards, or are these now just generic Rebel only command cards? Because you know, it doesn't say Luke or, you know, like a specific commander. So I think anybody can use these. So it might be worth buying this box, even if you don't plan on running the commanders. You know, this guy, the Rebel commander, the Rebel officer, I should say. So I'm pretty intrigued about that you can possibly just reuse these anyway. But we'll go through them. Sabotage communications, I had already seen. It's one special forces or an operative unit. And on that turn, your opponent must issue orders to one fewer unit than is indicated on the command card to a minimum of one. So if it was Luke and Leia, that card exists, but you would then only do one of them. But if it was just Luke, you would still have to do just Luke. And then the other cards, well, we'll click the buttons here because we can get them. I do apologize. When I use Firefox, which I use when I'm recording, it does this weird box around it, but we can read it enough. The 2-pip, 2 support or heavy units. Now, this basically turns each friendly unit into like a support unit, or a heavy unit into a support unit, because it gives it Inspire 2, so you can take away suppression from somebody. So this would be very, very good if you were getting heavily suppressed one turn and you really wanted to get rid of it, and you had like some support or heavy units clustered around your troopers. So it's an interesting card. I'm not 100% sure I would take that if I had an option to not take it, like if I'm running 2 commanders, but I might take it if I wasn't, for example. But the 3-pip covering fire, now I sort of like this card, except that it's core units, not like troopers or anybody like that. So after a friendly core unit performs a range attack, another friendly unit at range 1 to 2 may gain a dodge token. Now that's interesting because it doesn't actually indicate that they had to have received the order. So even if you didn't give it to even if you didn't give an order to that unit, they would still get it if they are a core unit. At least that's possibly my understanding of that. Maybe that's not true, but normally they say after a friendly core unit that had an order token fired a range shot. Do you know what I mean? But in this case it doesn't, so that could be a very powerful card, or depending if I'm reading it incorrectly, might be a meh card. We'll go through the models and stuff like that, but while we are on the cards, we'll just go through all of the cards. This guy, you can't see the points there, he's 19 points, the Rebel officer upgrade. He becomes the leader of that unit. I'm sure you probably already know this kind of stuff. And he gives you that entire unit Inspire 1, which is pretty decent just for a core unit to be able to help out other core units. So yeah, it's 19 points. Also it increases your I think it increases your courage to 2, because I don't know where it says that, but I'm pretty sure it does, because it says it in the article. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe you just get everything that's on his card. I'm not 100% sure, but I remember they literally say that it gives your courage to 2, but it sort of bugs me that it doesn't say that on the actual card. I sort of feel like it should, but you know, maybe that's just me. Because yeah, it says here, not only does having an experienced veteran, it raises your unit's courage by 1. Maybe that's just in the stats in the rule book somewhere, and I'm just missing it because I probably haven't read it. But yeah, so that's really good for stuff like your snow troopers. They're going to really be able to make use of that, because very often you'll end up on like 2 suppression, maybe rally 1, and then only get 1 action. Whereas with that, you're much more likely to get both your actions. Now the Rebel comms guy, or girl I should say in this situation, gives you the communication slot for 9 points, which I mean, in this example, they suggest using it with comms jammer, which I can understand, but comms jammer is 15 points, and I just don't agree that that is a great combo. But I understand it, because if you're going to get like a unit up in somebody's face, maybe you would want that and really disrupt the play, but I'm not necessarily a big fan of that one. The com relay, which we can see on the screen there, is very intriguing in that when you would be issued an order, you may choose one friendly unit at range 1 to 2 and issue an order to that chosen unit instead. And it does confirm that you can actually go out of type there. So let's say you get 2 core units. Well, you could use com relay to give it to a support character, like a ATRT, something like that. And it does say you can break that rank rule, basically, which I think is pretty decent for 5 points. I mean, yeah, I could possibly put that on something that already has a communication thing. I just don't think I'm going to put it on the Rebel Com Technician, at least, you know, for me. And then we get onto the interesting parts of this, which is the medical droids, which we've seen the rules of, but we sort of didn't know the cost. This guy's 18 points, and you get treat 1, capacity 2, which basically means you get to treat 2 wounds over the game. Basically 1 a turn, I think it is. And yeah, it's non-combatant, so you can't just be like shot off unless the whole unit dies. 18 points. You could heal, maybe like you could keep a character alive that had stimmed. You could put that on a unit like who's lost a flame trooper or something like that. Well, I say flame trooper, obviously this is Imperial Rebel, we'll just presume it's the other version. So you know, you can get use out of that, but I'm not initially enamored by it, but maybe it's better than I think. I think 18 points is quite high, essentially, for 2 guys, which is essentially what it would be. Although when you put it like that, and a guy is 10 points each, so 20 points, you actually end up getting better bang for your buck, I guess. But I mean, and if you put it on a character, even more bang for your buck. So I can sort of see the use. I'm just not 100% sure that I'm going to take lots of them. Maybe it's just not the playstyle I want. However, the R5, the vehicle droid, basically the one that heals vehicles, what interesting thing on this card is that not only can you take off 1 wound and ion, you can actually take off the vehicle damage token. Now that very much intrigues me, presuming that can fix the weapon that was maybe taken off if you roll a surge. Could be very strong, or just adding wounds to it that get taken off because it's armor. Imagine that with the tank, for example, although they don't have a tank, but the Imperial version, you could have a very intriguing combination there. And for only 8 points, I could definitely see me throwing that onto at least 1 or 2 units if I am running a vehicle heavy list. So I like that one probably more than I like the infantry one, but I don't know if that's just, you know, that's just my instinctive reading of it after a few playtests and stuff like that. Who knows where I would actually end up settling. And the models, I definitely think the paint job on this screen here isn't that great, but when you look at both this shot here and the rendering there, yeah, I think they're actually going to look fantastic. You'll see people on Facebook doing some amazing things with that, I reckon. And yeah, all in all, I think they're pretty decent. Now, there's a small chance I might not do the Imperial one. I might not come on and talk about the Imperial one, because if it's so similar to the Rebel one that there's hardly any difference, then I might not bother. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with them. I'm very intrigued by the droids, the healing droids. I probably need to play the medical droid a little bit, just to see if I can get its points back and get its use and if it's worthwhile and that kind of thing. As I said, if you put that just on a Rebel Trooper unit and you heal the Rebel Troopers, the Rebel Trooper is, I think, 10 points. So if you heal 2, you actually get your points back by 2 points, which sort of seems like a no-brainer now that I think about it. The only downside to that would be if you kill so many of them in one shot that you don't actually get the use out of it. And you're then adding the cost to the unit. So your, well, let's say 40 point unit, if you take 4, becomes a 58 point unit, but you end up getting your guys back. It's 2 points. It hardly seems worth it in a sense, but I think the versatility of it, that you could do it on characters, will probably make it worthwhile. Like characters, operatives, or special weapon guys are obviously going to be the ideal people that you bring back, because you can literally bring people back from the dead, essentially. You can't bring characters back from the dead, but you can give them wounds, and you can bring special models back from the dead. At least I'm fairly sure that's correct. I would need to double check. If I'm wrong, do correct me in the comments. Somebody inevitably would, and I would very much welcome that. So that's the end of this video. If you liked, fine. fine. Come join us on Discord, on Facebook. I'm always there all the time if you want to chat. And have a most beautiful day. Do hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And yeah, we might be back, we might not. We'll see how similar they are. But yeah, have a most beautiful day and goodbye. Bye, guys.